Graduates Conversations podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Conversations podcast. And today I am very lucky to have Dr. Erika Gonzalez Garcia, the AUSIT National President. Erika, how are you? Good to see you again.
Good. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me again. So, and lovely to see you.
Erika, I want to talk about the 2021 AUSIT National Conference this year. Very, very excited. Can you please tell our listeners and viewers, first of all, what the AUSIT National Conference is?
So basically, AUSIT on an annual basis organizes a two-day conference. So it is a great avenue for us to come together as practitioners, to see high-quality presentations, but to also hear about the latest research and educational developments in our field, hear from academics in the field, researchers, but also other colleagues who might be doing really interesting and significant things for our industry.
And is it just for interpreters and translators, or do other people attend in your experience?
Well, mainly it's translators and interpreters, but also we do have stakeholders, which could be representatives from NATI, but also language service providers, and sometimes also people who are linked to the industry because they are providers of technology or because they work in the multicultural industry. So there's a broad variety of participants, although, as I said, the main focus is on translators and interpreters.
And look, you've been the AUSIT National President now for just a bit over a year, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, that's right. Well, we also hold the annual general meeting for members after the conference. So if the membership is happy to get on with it and appoint me as the president again, then I would have completed my tenure as the president for 2 years. So I've been a year and about 9 months or so.
Look, I think you're doing an amazing job, and thank you so much for your time as the AUSIT National President. I look forward to getting those monthly update emails, and they just look so well prepared, and I can just see you sitting down at your desk and just writing those emails out, and they're very personal in a way, and so thank you very much for taking the time to communicate with us through those emails.
That's correct. So look, I know we're going to talk about the conference, but to me, being an AUSIT member, and many of you probably have listened to my other presentation, which was about belonging to a professional organization as a means to keep connected with the profession and with your colleagues. And as the president, I think it's paramount that I connect to the membership with my colleagues. And I've always said that other practitioners, other professions, they work together, they share staff room, but most of us are contractors, freelancers, and we work alone at home, or sometimes we might go to hospital appointments or court appointments, and we might see a colleague from another language in the distance. But to me, belonging to a professional association is, belonging to something special, belonging to a profession that is going to support quality, that is going to support my rights as a practitioner. And for me, as the president, those monthly newsletters are a way to communicate all that's happening in the industry. And, all of us have different styles, but I like to, have that personal tone because it's my way to connect with my colleagues, I guess.
Well, it definitely comes across like that. So as one of the readers of the newsletters, thank you very much for taking the time to write those quite personal newsletters. So Thank you. Let's talk about the conference again. Is there a theme? I think every year there's a bit of a theme. What's the theme this year, and what kind of events can we expect to see?
So this year it's going to be another word, another world. And obviously, like last year, we are in a pandemic and the world order has changed. We're doing things very differently, and the conference will be a reflection of our new reality. So that's why we've chosen this very specific title or theme for the conference. And what was your question, Fatih? You said what we are expecting to see at the conference?
So what kind of events can we expect to see? Can you tell us a little bit about how it works?
Yes, of course. So usually we open the conference with the keynote. Usually the keynote speakers we invite are academics, renowned academics in the field who have conducted significant research in translating and interpreting, but always presented from a very practical perspective so that it reaches all audiences and not just academics or students. And usually the topics we cover are of general interest. So last year, for example, we invited someone who has a very prominent profile in the professional development industry in Europe. And we also invited Associate Professor Stephen from the University of New South Wales. He talked about translation and the automation of translation, etc. So these are usually topics that are of general interest. So, and the keynote lecture lasts for about 45 minutes to an hour. And then we usually segregate the presentations into streams so that people can attend one stream or the other. And there's always a very broad range of presentations. Then usually also we have a closure keynote. And on the second day, we have the Jill Blewett Lecture Memorial. Jill Blewett was an interpreter who contributed to AUSIT greatly. So this lecture is delivered in her memory. And for this lecture, usually we have politicians or people who belong to the multicultural scene in Australia. And so it's slightly different to what you find in day one. So we've had ministers for culture, we've had stakeholders that have been involved in the development of multicultural Australia, multilingual Australia, etc. And then usually we close the day with a National General Assembly, which is for members only.
That's when we can either vote you in or out again, right?
Yes, that's right. So you're not happy with me, it's your opportunity to boot me out.
Look, good luck with that. Now, so when we say a conference, we say there's an opening keynote, closing keynote, and in between during those 2 days, there's a whole bunch of PD events, if I may say,
yes,
running at the same time, a couple of different streams. I attended the 100% online conference last year, and I loved it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And I've never been able to go to a conference in person. And until last year, it was only offered in person.
Yeah.
And for me, it gave me the opportunity to attend one of the conferences for the first time. And I loved it, how there were multiple streams. I was going to a translation one and then having a little bit of a break, catching up with some colleagues or meeting some new colleagues from around Australia, and then going to an interpreting event. And I want to say, if I can say, it was like a PD festival for me.
Yes.
You know, I couldn't believe that there was so many things going on at the same time. I thought it was just going to be a few presentations, to be honest with you. And then, you know, over the 2 days, I was like, oh, I've got to do this one. I've got to do this one. I was cancelling meetings with friends, going, no, I want to do this, because it was all over the weekend as well.
Yeah, that's right.
So, like I said, I think there's something for everyone. There's a bit of a festival kind of a vibe going on as well. In addition, this year, I guess what's also very special about this year's conference, so last year you were the first ever 100% online. Yep. And now it's the first ever hybrid event.
Correct. That's
so
correct.
How's that going to work? Because I guess in Perth, Western Australia, life's a little bit more normal compared to the other parts of the country, and face-to-face events are able to go ahead.
Yes.
But those of us who can't get there can also access for the first time.
That's correct. And this is thanks to, as I said, we are working under new circumstances. We've got a new world order. So we've decided to go ahead with the conference in a hybrid mode. And why is this? Because many people still are unsure if they will be able to attend face-to-face, because, you know, we don't even know what's going to happen tomorrow. In Victoria, we're still in lockdown. We don't know what's going to happen in 3 weeks' time. So we thought it was important to keep the conference conference program going. And just in case things change, or also to give our Western Australian colleagues the opportunity to gather, to see each other face to face, the opportunity to attend a conference on site, we thought, why not bring the best of the two worlds and organize it in a hybrid manner? Look, I've never been to Perth, I've never been to Western Australia, so I would really like to attend in person, and also being the president of the association, just to, connect with my colleagues on site. That would be fantastic. To me, going to a conference is always a boost of energy. It's a moment where you feel proud of what you do, and that's why I chose to be a translator and an interpreter. As many of you might know, I'm mainly an academic and a teacher these days, but I do still practice. And just seeing colleagues you haven't seen for the entire year, just mingling, there's something about it. I always leave the AUSIT conferences with a sense of fulfillment, a sense of pride of facilitating communication for Australians who cannot speak English fluently. And this is always the developments in the field. What AUSIT is doing always fills me with pride, because behind the scenes we truly work really, really hard to improve our working conditions, to raise the bar of the profession. And I think the conference, because it's also towards the end of the year, it's an excuse to celebrate all those achievements we've worked towards throughout the year.
Celebrating our profession.
Yes.
And solidarity.
And as you said, Fatih, it's just like a PD festival, because there's always something you're going to find interesting, and being able to jump from one session to the other from your comfort of your home just by clicking, okay, I'm going to go to a translation stream. So you click in this link. Oh, now I would like to hear about medical interpreting here. So I click in here. So you will just have two Zoom links, and you will be able to connect with one stream of the other in your comfort of your own home if you decide to join remotely. And for the lucky ones who will be able to fly in or attend the face-to-face conference, then you will be able to enjoy the Indian Ocean and the beautiful backdrop at the Scarborough Hotel. So,
as a Victorian, that does sound quite enticing.
Yes, especially since the most exotic thing I've done in the last couple of weeks, Fatih, is the supermarket's frozen section. That's probably the most exotic view I've had in the last year, possibly. So, yes.
Buying a dragon fruit and thinking about traveling.
Exactly. So, indeed.
Yeah, definitely. Look, and I think you have caught on to something here as AUSIT. Hopefully things do kind of get back to normal within the next, months to maybe a year or so. But I think you've got a keeper here within regard to the hybrid way of delivery.
Yeah.
Hopefully when things do go back to being more normal, it does make it more accessible for everyone.
That's correct.
People might not have the time. I mean, flying to Perth, it can be quite costly.
Yeah.
And then, you got to pay for accommodation. You need to pay for your, whatever you're eating and drinking there, your food and beverage. And that all adds up.
Yes.
And having said that, I guess it's all kind of tax deductible as well, for your profession. You're going to think about that too. But still, I know when you first told me about the national conference, I was your student, and there was no way in hell that I could afford to fly and attend that. And, we both know how little interpreters and translators can get paid. So moving forward, having it as a hybrid way of delivery, I think is going to be very, very accessible for all of us.
Yes, and I'm 100% with you, Fatih. To me, making events accessible and at the hands of anyone, it's really important. And look, the pandemic has been a big hit for all of us, but it's true. I was interpreting as a conference interpreter for an organization, and they were talking about making the arts accessible for everyone. And I haven't thought about about that before, but they were talking about, for example, people with disabilities being able to go to, the opera, to watch great drama productions that before they wouldn't been able to, sometimes because some of the theaters in some countries don't have proper infrastructure for wheelchairs, etc. And it made me think about that, making events accessible, making everything easy for everyone. And the financial burden of attending a conference obviously is significant. And I totally agree with you. I've been a student as well. And sometimes you wouldn't attend, this type of events because obviously finance played a massive role. So with that, we are hoping that we will attract more people and more people will be able to benefit from this great professional development mega event, if you like.
Yes, I think that's definitely going to happen. It just makes it so much more accessible for the entire nation. All right, so do we know who the keynote speakers are going to be yet? Can we get a little bit of a hint?
So yes, basically we are in having talks with a couple of translators based in Europe. One of them is a literary translator, and we're very close to getting confirmation from them. So please keep tuned. We will be definitely having the formalized agenda in the next few weeks. But yeah, you can expect maybe a couple of international presenters.
Nice, because there's been some controversy about literary translations in the last year or so. So
yes.
maybe they have something to say about that.
That's right.
Well, I know I just had a look at the website, and it says that the full program will be made available soon. So I guess people can get onto the website. When do you think the program will be made available?
As I said, the scientific committee is reviewing the abstracts of the presentations that were submitted because we extended the submission period for another couple of weeks because we had a few presenters contacting us and saying, oh, can we get a little extension because everybody is busy. So I've just got from our vice president for events and PD the list of abstracts that have been submitted. So we've got a huge number of presentations. So the committee, the scientific committee is reviewing those. So basically, this committee reviews the quality of the abstracts and acts as a filter so that whatever we get on the conference, it's of high quality and relevant to our industry. So you can expect presentations about legal interpreting, healthcare interpreting, dementia, assessments with interpreters, English competence for translators and interpreters. We've got a couple of, actually a few papers about education as well, translating and interpreting at tertiary level. We also have a couple of presentations about technology. So it's gonna be a full packed agenda. And I would really like to invite all who are watching us to join. And also it's a great opportunity to accrue several PD points all at once.
All of them at the same time.
All at once.
Yeah, I was just going to say that because I'm sure there'll be like something about ethics, something about interpreting, something about translation. If your recertification is coming up and you're thinking about, oh my God, how am I going to find all these PD events to accumulate my PD points? Well, you can do it all in one weekend, I guess.
That's correct, just by attending the AUSIT conference.
All right, so do I have to be a member to attend? Can anyone attend?
Yes, anyone can attend. The only thing that's obviously we provide some benefits to our members, and with our membership, you are entitled to have discounts for every single PD we run. So instead of offering early bird discounts, what we are doing this year is offer cheaper rates of enrollment fees for those who are attending the conference online. And I've got the price schedule here with me. So if you are attending in person and you are an AUSIT member, it costs $150. But if you are attending from the comfort of your home, you only have to pay $100. So for non-members...
so that's for the entire conference?
That's for the entire conference.
Not just one event, that's
all events. That's for 2 entire days.
And that's in person. Wow, that's very accessible. So congrats on keeping the prices that low. Yeah.
And then for non-members, if you are attending on site, it's $250. And if you are attending from the comfort of your home and you are not an AUSIT member, it's 175. So I think the pricing is very reasonable. And as I said, because of the PD points people are able to accrue, I think it's, a good investment. And as I said, then it's also a boost of, how would you say, a boost of pride, if you like, as I said at the beginning.
Definitely.
Feel, really, how would you say, Fatih, I don't want to repeat proud again, but just to feel that connection, that belonging.
You're right, though. I met some really nice colleagues during last year's online event, and I never would have met them otherwise.
Yes.
And we are still in contact, and, we support each other, we help each other out.
Yeah.
And it's just really good to have someone who, and like you said, being an interpreter translator, it can be quite solitary.
Yep.
And unless you have made friends maybe at your school that you still keep in touch with, it's really hard to just run into another interpreter translator and then start kick up a little bit of a conversation and make a connection.
Look, and for me, in my case, I got most of my interpreter and translator educator in Europe. So when I came to Australia, I knew no one.
Oh.
I knew no one. So
now everyone knows you. You know everyone.
But I have to say that AUSIT has provided me with a family, with a professional family. Some of my closest friends, I met them through the professional association and through translating and interpreting in Australia. And as a volunteer, look, sometimes I do ask myself, what am I doing this? Because, it's hard work leading an organization with nearly 2,000 members. And I take my position very seriously. And I know I have to fight teeth and nail for this profession, for its future, for its sustainability, and for its reputation. And to me, to be surrounded by colleagues who are supportive of that, to, find a space, a common space where we gather, we discuss things and we share, that's really precious. And as you mentioned, Fatih, it's not just about the papers and presentations you are able to attend, but also I remember last year that we had those breakout rooms.
Yeah.
So the conference organizers basically will set up little virtual rooms. So it's like going to a virtual coffee shop. So
I like how random they were. So you just rocked up and people were like, oh, hi. It's like they were just random. Now, like I said, I'm still in touch with some of those people.
And I remember I would just go brew a fresh cup of coffee, sit there chatting to interpreters, some of them that I haven't seen for a long time because of the lockdown. I was living in Sydney before I moved to Melbourne 4 years ago. So it was a great avenue to catch up with my dear colleagues in New South Wales. So yeah, it's a fabulous opportunity to keep connected. And to me, if you're a real professional, you need to know what's happening in your industry. You need
100%.
to know about the research. You need to know what's happening so that you can, apply all that knowledge into your practice. And some of the presentations that we will have to do with big research projects that are going to bring some great improvements to the work we do. Like one of them is, for example, the dementia assessments with interpreters. So this research group is aiming at developing free resources for interpreters for when they work with patients with dementia. So that, for example, it's a great development that people will have the opportunity to hear about and then enroll in the course for free in the future. So as I said, these events are a great opportunity to know what's happening and how you can benefit from those, things that are happening in the industry or the profession.
100%. And I think it's for all levels. You can be an academic / practitioner. You can be someone who has a recognized practicing credential, maybe even does part-time. There's something for everyone.
Absolutely. And I am of the opinion, and because I'm an academic and a teacher, sometimes people think that these conferences are for people who teach, or no, this is for everyone. Sometimes it is true that many of the presenters come from the academia, but this is a professional conference. It's nothing at a high level, because to me as a teacher, and yeah, I might have, the highest NATI certification level, but as a professional, I need to learn from colleagues who might have different types of credentials, because their experiences, for example, interpreters and translators of new and emerging languages, their experiences, their knowledge, what they gain in their work on a daily basis, I can learn from all of them as well. So to me, this is not about levels. So these conferences are absolutely for everyone, because everyone who is out there, they have an experience, they've got a knowledge, and this is something we can share and learn from each other.
But even that's definitely right. I agree with you. Even for some presentations that might be, let's say, a little bit more theory heavy than others, I think it's a really good way for maybe novice interpreters to challenge themselves.
Yes.
To learn about the theories, to learn about some of the newest developments, and just really challenge yourself. And I think only when you challenge yourself, you can really carry yourself upwards.
Absolutely. Look, would you imagine a doctor or a lawyer who haven't done any theory? If we really want to see ourselves as professionals, we have to start acting like professionals, by attending to conferences, by reading, by sometimes going to places that might be challenging, because just by overcoming those challenges, you're going to be able to excel. And I always tell my students, it is really important that we recognize our strengths, but also our weaknesses. And I've been practicing now for about, oh my God, I'm getting old, for close to 20 years. And I still know what...
You must have started really early, Erika.
I graduated and started working quite early, but still, I'm getting older. But one of the things that I like to do with some of my colleagues with whom I share the booth as a conference interpreter, we finish interpreting, and sometimes we criticize each other with no mercy, criticize in a good way. We sit down and we go through our interpreter notes, like, oh, you translated this at this. If this term appears tomorrow, maybe you should use this one. Or in this instance, I think we should do this instead of that. So it's a way to grow. Constructive feedback, criticism, and analyzing your weaknesses and being fine about it is the only way we've got to excel. And, as you say, and attending a theoretical maybe presentation, it could be, as you say, Fatih, the way to just learn about a new concept or something that it's going to prompt you to do a bit of research about something you didn't know.
I think that's key. I think that's definitely key. Otherwise, if you just keep doing the same PDs, just to tick off, I've got this from my ethics, I've got this from category 1, this from category 3. If you just keep doing the same thing, you're always going to be the same interpreter, aren't you? You're always going to be quite constant.
Look, we always complain that, we are not the best remunerated profession in the world. We're not merchant bankers, unfortunately, and we don't get such high remuneration packages. But it is true that quality and remuneration, they are like a vicious circle. If you are good, you are able to ask for more. And then if you are good, you get more, you are recognized, and you can reinvest to become even better. However, you are asking for more, but your level is here. Those who work with you would say, why would we pay them more? They're rubbish. So obviously, if you demonstrate you're good, you do meaningful PD, you prepare yourself, then we will be in a position to ask for better, working conditions, remunerations, whatever. And obviously, this is a hot potato and we're going completely off topic, but it's true that everything is related. And we work with some of the most vulnerable Australians, especially in the field of community interpreting, but also translation. And as all of you know, this is something quite important now in COVID times because, the community depends on us to get messages in different languages, etc. So to me, we've got a huge responsibility. We are the voice of the voiceless, and we have to become the carriers of messages so that people can participate wholly in a very wholesome way in the society. So because of that responsibility, I always tell my students, you have to be the best you can be. It's huge. And also when people say, oh, I'm just the interpreter. No, you are the interpreter. Yeah. Without you, that doctor, they can be the best doctor in the world. Without you, they cannot do their job. So we are the interpreters, the translators, and we are actually the symbol of the success that multicultural Australia is. So we do have loads to do, and I'll never stop, working behind the scenes within AUSIT to improve as much as we can. But this is also something we have to do together, each of us as individual practitioners, as an association. But as I said, be the best you can be. And look, if there are any among our audience, if there are many who have not become AUSIT members yet, please do join us. Our success depends on all of us. And you can go to our website and there's a little button which says join now. But I think support from the industry is really important so that we can keep working. Look, at the moment, for example, we are developing national protocols for community translation that hopefully, government bodies and language service providers will be able to apply. And obviously, we need to cooperate and collaborate with all of you. So it's really important to have people support so that then we can keep organizing awesome conferences and doing wonderful work behind the scenes for everyone's benefit.
And congrats on just being so adaptable to everything as well. So kudos to everyone at AUSIT, because, we went into a pandemic just like that. You put on an amazing 100% online conference.
Yeah.
We went into video remote interpreting, and within weeks you came up with some protocols for everyone. Because whenever there's an issue, we look at AUSIT and we're like, okay, we need some guidance on this. We don't have anyone else to go to, right?
Yeah.
And now, in the last, I guess, 6 months or so, we have seen some horrible stories about translations.
Yes.
And now, you're very proactive again, and there's quickly some work being done on that to provide some guidance to government agencies as well as language service providers. So kudos and thank you to you and your team.
The other thing I would like to say is that we are all volunteers. So we do have some paid positions because the organization is growing so much that we got some admin help and support. But all of us, myself, all my colleagues in the National Council, we are all volunteers. And this depends on people power, if you like. So if you think you have something to offer to AUSIT, just join one of the state branches. So we have branches in each state and territory, and we organize lots of local events, and then we also organize bigger national events like our conference. So there's always a space for everyone. And as I said, AUSIT can be as successful as we are as individual members because we depend on people's volunteer efforts to manage and, basically organize all these things. And this is also a big shout out to my colleagues at the National Council, who are the most hardworking individuals, and also to all the volunteers in all our state and territory branches, because I truly appreciate all the time that all these people sacrificing leisure time, family time, just to do something for the profession.
And a big kudos to everyone at the National Committee and all the volunteers. All right, so just to wrap things up, the National Conference is coming up. There's no early bird discounts as there usually is, but the prices are kept quite accessible.
Yes.
If you're not a member yet, you can become an AUSIT member. I will put the link to the AUSIT website into the episode description. You can go there. And I think this year you also gave a discount for membership like you did last year.
Yes.
So I'm not sure if that's still going on, but yep, still going on.
Basically last year with the pandemic, we reduced the membership fees by half. This year, I can't remember now on top of my head, but they are about 40% cheaper. So I think
110, I think it was.
110. I was about to say so becoming an AUSIT member for the entire year is 110. So that means that you have access to hundreds of free PD that we've got in our system archived and to many other activities we organize, like catch-ups, meet and greets, master classes, etc. And then for our PD, paid PD events, we also have really good discounts for members.
Now, within regards to the online attendees, now obviously in person you're going to have limitations because the rooms will have number limits. Yes. Okay. Now, do we have limitations for online attendees, or is it like come one, come all, anything can come on?
Everyone, I do believe that Zoom, because everything will be facilitated via Zoom. And this year we're going to even have interpreting students doing simultaneous interpreting. So I think the limit for Zoom is about 500.
Okay, yep.
So yes, plenty of spots for everyone.
All right, so get in there, dear listeners and viewers. I will put the address to the AUSIT website as well as a link to the National Conference, so you can get more information about that. And I'm sure if you follow AUSIT's socials, you'll be getting the update on the full program soon.
That's right. So we are in Facebook and we are in LinkedIn. So if you want to follow us, just go to AUSIT's Facebook and LinkedIn, follow us or like us, and you will get all the updates you need for the conference and for any other events that we are organizing.
All right, very good. Erika, thank you so much. Always such a pleasure talking to you.
Likewise.
And, either in person, maybe, hopefully, or online. I look forward to seeing you at the National Conference.
Likewise, and to all our viewers, the same. I hope to see you online at the conference, and if not, or you cannot make it, hopefully in the future at future events organized by all graduates or AUSIT itself. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, Erika. And thank you, everyone. Please don't forget to subscribe and like our YouTube channel. For all other information about the conference and AUSIT membership, you can look in the episode description where you will find a link. Thank you very much, and we'll catch you next time.
All Graduates Conversations Podcast.